Hi, I'm Gandhi Thompson, former host of The Power of Her 2018 and 2019. Today, I have the opportunity to sit with the recipient of the Lifetime Legacy Award 2020, and the recipient of that award is none other than Dame Janet Bostwick. Dame Janet, my first question for you today is, how are you? You look so lovely.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here this evening, Gandhi. It's very good to be with you. And it was good to be with the Power of Her last year when I gave some awards. Truthfully, it was the first time I became aware of the organization.
Okay.
And I compliment you on all the good work the organization has done from its formation and until now. I'm doing rather well, thank you for asking. And about being awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award, that is absolutely tremendous. I am more than honored. Thank you so much. I'm humbled by it, and all I can say is I'm excited. Thank you.
And I'm sure the award is certainly well deserved. I mean, you have been one of the leading ladies in the Bahamas for years. I've looked back over your resume, and firstly, tell me, what do you think was your greatest accomplishment to date?
Well, when I'm asked that, honestly, my greatest accomplishment has nothing to do with my achievements in public life at all. My greatest accomplishment was that I have been privileged, thank God, to lead each of my children to a personal relationship with Christ. And that is the greatest accomplishment. Now, with respect to my public life, I feel so privileged, and I thank God again that what I have done has inspired so many young people, or so many women. That is, second to my children, the greatest accomplishment, that they've looked at me and said, if Janet Bostwick can do it, then we can. And I think in empowering young persons or women, I like to think that I have particularly been somewhat of an inspiration to those women who did not have the honor or the opportunity to go to university. And I think those women look at her and say, she didn't go, but still, and so I can. And yes, that is the greatest accomplishment.
I am so happy that you were able to decipher, because some persons would have automatically went to some public accomplishment. But I'm so happy as a mother that you referenced the pouring into your children as one of your
Yes.
greatest accomplishments. And so
Oh, yes.
I'm indeed inspired to add that to my legacy. One of the things I wanted to know from you is, as a female, what did you find, or what were some of your most challenging obstacles along the way?
I was fortunate in that although I was the first of 5 daughters, I had one brother, and he was older than I was. And my parents treated us all as if we were the same.
Wow.
They strove to give us the best education that they could possibly afford. And in the home, each one of us had our chores. My one brother, although he was prince of the house, he still had to scrub the floors with us, you know, and wash the dishes. We were all treated the same. And I was very comfortable being around boys and later men. Very, very comfortable. I was never a tomboy, but I was like big sister to all of my brother's friends, you know. And when I went to high school, I had equally as many boys who were my friends as women who were, or girls who were my friends. Now, in my professional life, after I came out of the secretarial and administrative field, I was in law. And when I was called to the bar, I was only the sixth woman who was called to the bar.
Wow.
And so I was moving in a male-dominated area.
Yes.
Prior to that, apart from my work, I was involved in trade union. And I became the first female secretary general in the Public Services Union. And that was a male, predominantly male-dominated area as well. And so you asked me about what were the obstacles. I didn't see too many of them in that respect. Entering into politics was a different thing because I found that some women were affronted by the fact that I sought to be elected to Parliament.
Okay.
They really bought into the feeling that a woman's place was in the house and that I was being a dishonor to womanhood by becoming involved in frontline politics. They felt that that was a man's world, and who do you think you are, you know? That was amazing. I'll tell you, I got that so much, particularly from women, from some men, but particularly from women, that on the second occasion when I ran, because I ran first of all in 1977, and I didn't win, and then I ran in 1982. And I designed an apron, which I wore, and the ladies and my men, we wore at our little functions and stuff. It said, Janet's place is in the house.
Wow. ...
of assembly.
Okay, okay.
We used
You played
what
with
was
words,
yes,
right.
what was used against us. That dealing with the feeling that women ought to raise their families and stay in their place. That was the greatest obstacle in my political life.
Now, as a woman pioneering in politics, right, did you ever doubt that you could do it? Especially now receiving, I guess, some eyebrows being raised from females. Did you ever have any self-doubt that maybe I should back off? Or did you just know you had to keep going and persevere?
To answer that, I have to tell you why I became involved in politics. It was not my goal to be a politician.
Wow.
I didn't want that at all. My husband is responsible for many of the directions my life took.
Okay.
We were childhood sweethearts and in government high school together. He always wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I wanted to be a doctor, but my family did not have the money to pay for me to go away to school, and so after graduating from high school itself, I did a secretarial and commercial course 1 year that was offered at the government high school, a postgraduate course. And then I went to work in the Attorney General's office. I will never forget, in 1956, there was a career day at what we used to call the Western Senior School. And we were there, and everybody had to get up and say what they wanted. Yes. And of course, my husband, Henry, he got up and said he wanted to be a lawyer. And I got up and said, and my goal is to be a lawyer's secretary. I said it facetiously, thinking, that's Henry, that's my boyfriend and all that, you know. And so he's going to be a lawyer and I'm going to be his secretary,
Yes.
you know. But my being in the Attorney General's office was God's will. I had done the course, the secretarial and commercial course, and prior to graduation there, I was able to secure a job at Navios Corporation, making £12 per week, or £12.10. At that time, the government paid £7 per week.
Oh.
And so this was a big time thing. I was then head girl of Government High School, and the headmaster called me in and said that he had an appointment for me to go to the Public Service Commission for an interview, and I said, no, thank you, sir. I have a job. He said, where? And I told him, Navios Corporation, and he exploded. How could you? How ungrateful. The government and people of the Bahamas have paid for your education for so and so, and you would say that you're going to a private corporation? You will go to the interview, and when Dr. Bears barked, that's it, you know. So I went to the interview, and I was employed or offered a position at the Attorney General's office, and at £10 a week. So although it was less,
Right.
but okay, I was in the Attorney General's office, and in the Attorney General's office, I took evening classes and all the rest of it. But Henry came, and we had gotten married the first year of his university, and then he'd graduated, he'd become a lawyer. In the meantime, I'm moving up in the public service, and we had a public administration course here. I was one of those who was in the course, and at the end of the course, I was one of the 4 persons chosen to go either the University of the West Indies or the University of Manchester for 1 year in public administration. I was elated, and my husband was crushed. How could you, you see? And because he had just recently come home, and
Wow.
so we were breaking up the family again. I said, but I want to study, I want to progress, what do I do? And this was an opportunity I didn't have to pay, and they were going to be paying my salary plus my tuition, board, and everything, manna from heaven. And he said, study law. You've been doing it for so long now, just study law, And that's how I studied law. I was articled to the then Solicitor General, who became Attorney General, but I studied at home, system of articles. Blessed with some great tutors, but that's another story. After I became a lawyer and I'd left the public service and was in with Henry, it was always Henry's dream that both of us would be in politics. I wanted no part of it. But I wanted this country to be better for my children than the country which I had. I did not see that happening. We had reached a stage when the then government was becoming involved in all what I considered private enterprise and stuff like that. They had bought the bank, Bolam Bank. They had bought the hotels. They had bought the Harrisville Corporation, which was the only real industry, the dairy industry and stuff like that. And I saw government being in control of everything and crushing individual enterprise, and I was totally against that. And then I saw the seeds of corruption, that which we fought so much against, seeping in again. And Henry was saying, you do something about it. You have to run. Put your money where your mouth is, run. And I was in the union and speaking for people, so and basically I'm very shy, and I want to be behind. But when I see injustice, like, I don't know, the Lord gives me a different voice, and I'm strong to speak it out against injustice, you see? So he convinced me to run. And when I lost the first time, I said, well, I did that, praise the Lord, finished that, And it was a Good Friday in Christ the King Church, and Father Sammy was speaking, and he was finished speaking, and he'd left and turned back. And he came back to the pulpit, and he said, there are persons in here who are crucifying Christ all over again,
Oh,
you know.
wow.
He said, God has given you a gift of blessing to speak and to present cases and situations of those who cannot speak for themselves. And you sit on your false modesty
Wow.
and hold yourself back, do
Wow.
not wish to be involved. That is putting nails in his hand all over again.
Again.
As he spoke, the tears were just rushing down, you know, because I said, not me, I'll never bother with that again, you see. And as he spoke and I wept, Henry was sitting 2 pews behind me, and he got up and he said, so now you'll run again? And I said, yes. And so, for me, it was a mission,
Yes.
you know, um, and it wasn't one that I sought, but I felt it was one I had to fulfill,
Wow.
and that he would lead me. My father would lead me, and I would be there for the season, and then I would move. So that is what it was, rather than me. I had to fulfill a mission.
Wow, your story reminds me of Esther, where you rose to the occasion for the sake of your people. We need to take a break right now, and I will be right back with Dame Janet to share more about her story. Thank you. Welcome back to The Power of Her with our Lifetime Achievement Award 2020 recipient, Dame Janet, who has already shared so much of her story with us. Indeed, a lifetime of success and triumph. I am here just so inspired by all that you've shared so far. Janet, or Dame Janet, I should say.
Okay.
You've just made me feel so welcome. But Dame Janet, what life lessons would you give to ladies who feel called to do something beyond their comfort zone? What life lessons that you have garnered over the year you'd like to share with them to help them accomplish their goals?
First of all, if you feel that you have a goal, it is to achieve some particular purpose. You do not have to be in your ultimate location to attempt to achieve that purpose. My thing was family life, children, and all this. I did not think that I, of necessity, had to be in the House of Assembly to work to change the laws and the perception and stuff for family life. And so, long before I was a member of Parliament, I was known in the country for somebody who was knocking on the door saying, this is not right about women's affairs, you know. This is not right that a man should only pay $8.40 per week, a maximum of $8.40 per week for the maintenance of his children, even if he's making $500 and that's his only child, and for our law to have that. It is not right for a woman to have no share in the matrimonial home on a divorce if she has been found guilty of committing adultery. You punish her so that she can not share in the family law's assets. It is not right for women to be beaten, bones broken and all that, and be forced to stay in a marriage, and the only ground of marriage or a divorce being adultery. I'm for family life,
Right.
but not for cruelty and all the rest of it, you know. And so I found platform. I didn't need the Parliament for that.
Wow.
And so I would go to women's groups, I would go to churches, talking about the things which were a passion. And what you're seeking to achieve, try to do your utmost to achieve it before you get your
Right.
goal, you see?
Gotcha.
So that I feel that particularly a woman in politics or wants to do a political life, the worst thing that can happen for you is when you offer yourself in that line. People say, who's she? That is when they're going to come to know you. You should be known before then for the stand which you have taken, for that which you have sought to change prior to your seeking political office. I believe too that if God has given you a passion for something, He's going to equip you for it. You should seek to make those incremental steps toward your being equipped or totally qualified to do that which you are set out to do. Do not let the mountain be so high that you're intimidated by its height and you do not take that step and another little step. You try to take gigantic steps. Take small steps and keep on your goal towards the top. There is no limit to what you can achieve except that which you've placed yourself. And there's something which stays with me. It was something I used when I was head girl. And the heights by a good man reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward through the night. Remember that. Keep on moving, keep on toiling, keep on going up. And God alone knows how far you will go.
Team Janet, thank you so much for sitting with us tonight and sharing about your lifetime story. What stands out to me most is how a lady who once was questioned by other women in pursuing her goals has now inspired so many women to pursue their goals. And then a female who started out as secretary in the Attorney General office rose to the Attorney General. And so that is indeed striking. And indeed it proves that the poetry that you just shared with us, that you lived that. It's not just something you read, but you adhered to that. And so I'm sure that we're going to be so excited that you will be with us again this year in March 21st, 2020 to receive your award. Thank you again. You have been an example for all females in the Bahamas and indeed the world.
And thank you, Candy. Thank you for this privilege to sit down and just share for a while, and I'm looking forward to the 21st.
Yes, thank you again. Thank you.